Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Chantel and today I'm going to be continuing my Spooktober video series of reviews with a discussion of Ryan Coogler's Sinners. So let's dive in, shall we? So if you're unfamiliar, Sinners was a film that was just released earlier this year, over the summer, I believe. I did not catch it when it was originally in theaters, but I was lucky enough to catch a screening at my local repertory cinema during their Halloween Fright Fest film program, and I absolutely loved it. This film is one of the best movies I've seen probably in the last 5 years or so. I really like Ryan Coogler. I've seen a couple of his previous films, and I feel like with Sinners, he does with the vampire movie, kind of the same thing that he did with the superhero movie with Black Panther, which is that he took a very familiar genre and he both paid homage to the best parts of that genre while also infusing it with his own thematic and artistic concerns and his own vision and his own visual style, which works very, very well and makes it one of the more interesting additions to the genre in recent memory, in my opinion. I think one of the biggest things about this film that appeals to me is that it is actually difficult to classify it in terms of genre. It is a vampire movie, but it is not what I would consider a straightforward horror film. It definitely at times becomes a horror film, and it definitely at times plays with familiar tropes from the horror genre, but it's also a mishmash of other things. There's parts of it that are a serious historical drama about the Jim Crow South in the 1930s. There's parts of it that are an action thriller film. And there's parts of it that are a musical. And those different things do not, at first glance, seem to go together very well, but somehow Ryan Coogler makes it all work, and when you're in the middle of it, you're not even thinking about it. It's just a good movie. I think my favorite thing about this film, well, there's a number of favorite things that I have about this film, but I really enjoyed the way that Coogler transforms the vampire, keeps it familiar in many ways, but also makes it into something that is very thematically resonant. These vampires are an assimilationist nightmare. And one of the great things about it is that Coogler understands that the fundamental point of the vampire is that the vampire is both attractive and also repulsive, right? It's both at the same time, right? Dracula is sexually attractive in many ways and is a kind of erotic fantasy while also being a blood-sucking monster and having this horrifying bestial side to him. Vampires are always like this. They always have those two sides. And Coogler understands that, and he takes that and he transforms it in his version of the vampire into these assimilationist vampires, which are appealing to this idea of wanting to be equal, right? So his vampires approach this Black community in 1930s Mississippi and say, look, if you join us, it won't matter anymore that you're Black, right? We won't treat you any differently. You won't be discriminated against. You won't be segregated from everybody else. That's not going to happen anymore, right? It's a dream of equality, right? The attraction is the sense of fully being a part of a broader community where you're not being discriminated against anymore, legally or culturally. But of course, the flip side of that is that in so doing, they will lose all of their cultural identity and their cultural history, right? That is the assimilationist nightmare, right? It's the sense that in order to attain this equality, you have to give up everything that makes you who you are. You have to give up your history. You have to give up your traditional religion. And I really love that there's this tension between our main character and his father, who is a minister and who, to some extent, has assimilated. He's not a vampire, but he has assimilated because he's adopted the white man religion, and he's pushing his son to adopt it as well. And there's this constant tension there. And the vampires also represent this tension of, you can have equality and we'll stop caring about the color of your skin if you just give up your entire history and your entire culture and all of these cultural practices that are important to you and that are meaningful. And I really enjoyed that tension, and I thought it worked really well in the context of the vampire, and I really enjoyed the way that Ryan Coogler drives it home. The fact that the main antagonist vampire guy is specifically Irish just adds to that emphasis. The fact that he, the Irish people, of course, have also been subject to colonialist discrimination and have struggled to retain their cultural history and cultural identity as well. That is another added layer to what's going on in this film. And some of the shots are just absolutely beautiful. The big dance number sort of in the middle of this film at the juke joint is so good. It's one of the best things I've seen on film in recent memory. I'm absolutely infatuated with this film. The performances are great all around. It was just a really good time. I don't know that I have a whole lot else to say about Sinners. I think a lot of people have spilled a lot of ink and spent a lot of time in videos dissecting this film. And I think it is one of those films that lends itself well to being dissected from many different angles. But that is the thing that stood out to me the most on my first viewing of this film, is the sense of the vampires as this assimilationist fantasy / nightmare that I think really is really interesting, and it really adds a lot to the sort of vampire subgenre of films, and Coogler is just firing on all cylinders with this one. Again, I really like Ryan Coogler's style. I really like his thematic concerns, and every movie he comes out with just seems, in my opinion, to get more and more confident and more experienced, and it really comes across in this film, and it feels really polished, and it feels really satisfying when you get to that final scene. I really liked it a lot. That's really my take on Ryan Coogler's Sinners from earlier this year, and I will have one more Spooktober video to wrap things up. Once again, I apologize for disappearing there for a while. I'll have a few videos out this week, hopefully, so that can make up for my somewhat extended silence. But yeah, that's all I got for you this time. Leave a comment below if you have something to say about Sinners or about vampire movies and race relations in America, or Ryan Coogler, or Black Panther, or whatever else you want to talk about. Like this video if you like it, subscribe if you want to see some more, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye!